Soos genoem gesels ek met die ambassadeur van Kazakhstan. Hy is Kanat Tumish. Kanat, welcome to Groot Plaas. It's such an honor for me.
Thank you very much. Very good morning, South Africa. My name is Kanat Tumish. I'm ambassador of the Republic of Kazakhstan. I'm very pleased to receive the invitation from the leadership of Agri-Gauteng for this very beautiful event. And I would like to express my sincere appreciation to William Pretorius and Tinus Wandil for this unique opportunity to be on this event and explore ways for our future cooperation between Agri-Gauteng and Kazakhstan. And I do believe we have a lot of room for the further interaction between two sides. And thank you very much again.
That's what I want to ask now. It's always amazing having an opportunity like this because I think in real life, somebody like me and you wouldn't be able to talk to each other. So what is the current relationship, agricultural relationship between, let's say, South Africa and Kazakhstan?
Let me start from 2 points. The overall situation in the globe and also our bilateral relations. First of all, I would like to start with the recent United Nations General Assembly we have on these days in New York. And very unfortunately, what we see now, it is a lack of trust, lack of confidence on global level. And for the first time on the last generation, we have a real threat of nuclear war. The situation is very serious. That is why the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he even said we have now a red alarm on the entire planet. We need to have a real deeds now, and we need to interfere. And as Kazakhstan is a peace-loving country, we proposed the platform of our country to the dialogue of world leaders, religious leaders and traditional religions in our capital a few weeks ago when the Rome Pope Francisco visited Kazakhstan, and we gathered together all the leaders of the world religions, and they accepted a declaration of the religious leaders. They made a recommendation how we can go out of this conflict situation now. What we have on the ground, we have trade and sanctions wars, and it really threatens the food security.
Absolutely.
And especially those people who live in vulnerable part of our societies. That is why we have a new message. Kazakhstan has a new message of peace and reconciliation on our planet. That is why our President, His Excellency Mr. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, proposed to have a new policy and reforms in our country. He said that our priority is economy, but for a committee to be well, we need, first of all, to reform our political system. And maybe I have familiarized you with some reforms we did this year. We had a constitutional reforms referendum. We amended 55 clauses of our constitution very recently, in June this year. Now we also adopted some new novelties on our constitution. First of all, we decided that president cannot be a member of any political parties. He should be independent. He should be above all. He should be very objective managers. And secondly, we prohibited all the relatives of president to be members of the state apparatus, to be members of the governance of state-owned companies. Then we decided to limit presidential term of office only with one term. So now our president cannot be re-elected for the second time, but we said that the term of office will be 7 years. Then we fully abolished the death penalty in our country, and we did a lot of positive democratic reforms. We call this process a second republic. We established in a second republic. And of course, because we now opening for the international community, because we exercise this open policy, we now have very good trends also in economy. We have very good GDP growth for this year. Our economy growing at least 3-4% by the end of this year. For the first time for last 8 years, we have a profit of our budget around $7 to $10 billion.
That's wonderful.
And I think taking this opportunity, because now we have great challenges on the economic side all over the world, and especially I mentioned before the food crisis.
I want to ask you about that. Obviously, food security.
Yes.
It's not just specific to a country. It's a worldwide priority.
Yes.
And I can imagine in your country as well, food security is priority number one.
Yes, it is priority number one, but at the same time I would like to draw attention to the fact that the Kazakhstan is the seventh largest producer of wheat and maize on the globe. So I think from one point it is a threat and challenge, this situation, but from other point it is a niche and opportunity and a window for our cooperation with South Africa, especially in agriculture sector. And we would like to import from South Africa citrus, sugar, some even breeds of cattle, goats, and sheep.
I think the farmers are happy to hear that.
And we also would like to supply South Africa with our wheat, our maize, and our products. And it is a real opportunity now in this challenging time to explore this possibility of deepening our bilateral cooperation, especially in agriculture. We also need veterinarian vaccines from South Africa. I had a meeting with South African business people this morning, and I provided the list of what we are needed, and we are going to have follow-up next week. So I would like to invite South African representatives of agri-sector for more enhanced cooperation with my country, especially in these sectors of economy.
We're going to have a chat just now further. Ons gaan net gou na 'n breek toe, ons is nou terug. Ek gesels steeds met die ambassadeur van Kazakhstan, Kanat Tumish. And Kanat, I love how you mentioned the word opportunity the whole time, because we all know the past 2.5 years for no country it wasn't an easy ride. It still isn't in some countries. So you mentioned opportunity, and when we look at agricultural relationships between countries, it's such an important thing to have that relationship, right?
Yes, yes.
As you say.
Yes, we're just thinking how to be more effective, and of course we have a government-to-government relation, but to my understanding we need also to explore opportunity for B2B contacts and people-to-people contacts, and it will be also effective, I think, and we would like to prepare a program, our roadmap for South African business people, just to have a more enhanced cooperation with my country. And even we are thinking of establishing of a trade chamber. South Africa, Kazakhstan, we recently established such a trade chamber with Mozambique.
Oh, is it?
Yes, and now we're looking forward to do it. So on this very platform, we can gather together representative of business of Kazakhstan and South Africa and have a real cooperation. But what amazed me last time when I visited Nampo in Free State, it was a lot of youth who participated, and they have startups, they have their project. In this case, let me just resound the proverb we have in our part of the world. If you want stability for 1 year, grow grain. If you want stability for 10 years,
Yeah.
grow trees.
There we go.
And if you want stability for century, for 100 years, grow youth.
There we
So
go.
that is why we need to empower of youth
Yeah.
and women. It is a core of our international policy. When Kazakhstan was on Security Council seat in the United Nations, it was one of the priorities of Kazakhstan. It was also the priority of South Africa. And I see that it is a real opportunity to do joint project, especially youth to youth project and women to women project.
It is so important. You can't grow without, like you say, youth. So it's always exciting seeing the initiatives happening to include the youth. And I mean, in what better sector than the agricultural sector to do that? I always love asking, in your opinion, what do you think can be done more when it comes to agricultural relations internationally? I mean, is it priority enough for countries, according to you?
Yes, I think we need to adopt a decision on the global level. Even now, United Nations General Assembly will consider possibility of making agriculture a very important priority. Just having in mind that we have these conflicts, we have lack of trust, but on the other hand, we have such menaces, such challenges like climate change,
Absolutely.
like droughts in South Africa, the floods, recent floods in KwaZulu-Natal, and my government also sent their support, they sent their condolences to the leadership of the country. That is why I think it is a real time to cooperate with each other. And it brings me to also one idea that was very popular in the 1990s, but now I think it is time to revive it. It is, I mean, about Bandung spirit of Asian and African partnership. When we have Asian-African summits in Bandung and Johannesburg, very close to this place. And I think because in Africa we have 54 countries who are members of the United Nations, and we have 53 countries in Asia. So it makes majority on the planet, and we need to combine our efforts. We have similar structures of our economies. We have similar customs, traditions of Asian and African people, and we need to redouble our efforts, to combine our efforts to make a breakthrough in this challenging situation.
We've got around 2 minutes left, and I love that you're talking about similarities, because that would be my next question. Obviously, when it comes to farming in different countries, it looks different, but there must be similarities in some cases. What would you say are the biggest similarities between South Africa and Kazakhstan when it comes to farming at the moment?
First of all, we call South Africa a rainbow nation.
Yeah.
It is a mixture of different races, ethnicities, cultures, traditions. And the same we have in Kazakhstan. We have about 100 different ethnicities, 20 different religious denominations in my country.
Yeah.
So we call our country land of great step, but this great step, it unites Kazakhs, Russian people, we have German people, Polish people, we have Turkish, Azerbaijani people, and many other people. But this is something, this diversity is something which enriches us, enriches our culture. We have very unique constitutional institution in Kazakhstan. We call it Assembly of People of Kazakhstan. And even this assembly elects some members to our Senate, or the upper chamber of our parliament. So all the races, all the ethnicities are represented in our government. And
I'm unfortunately going to have to stop here. We've run out of time.
Thank you.
But sir, it's been such a pleasure, and I hope all the plans come together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.